Another year, another Inktober. If you don't know what Inktober is, it's a month-long challenge where you draw an ink drawing every day in October, hence Inktober. And this year I'm doing something a little different, I guess. It's whatever. You can do whatever. As usual, I am using Sakura Micron pens. Of course, I'm also using a small ruler for my hatching. I'm actually using a blue pencil for the first time for sketching. Don't know why I suddenly decided to do that. And a variety of other things I might need, like an eraser or a compass. So like I showed you guys, I have a book that I'm creating to look exactly like a storybook with illustrations and whatnot. But I also have a book, an identical book that I'm keeping all of my sketches and notes and things in. So just to keep them all together for Inktober, I've got my test page for my pens. And from there, obviously, we have our character design and idea sketches. And yeah, it's time to start sketching and figuring out what I'm going to do for the fourth prompt, which is freeze. All right, let's get into sketching. Okay, so for freeze in the story, we have our character who, I guess, freezes in place. So I do want this to be a little bit more of a dramatic illustration, just because what is happening in the story is a little dramatic at the moment. She is supposed to have just picked the plant like a normal person does, but it looks like she is, I don't know, Sailor Moon transforming with the plant. I don't know why I did that. But it is dramatic. I did say I wanted drama, so I suppose that works. And then the background, I do want to be a lot darker so that she pops, but I don't want it to be completely black. I could also go a little bit more simple and do like a zoomed in of her. Wow, this is gonna look very stupid. Okay, so a zoomed in of her face frozen. Let's draw the plant in her eye. Maybe that was too zoomed in on the plant. Let's see. I kind of like doing something simple. That might be really interesting and fun. What if it was the same? What if we combined? This is gonna be the same drawing, but just like zoomed in more and more. What if instead of that zoomed outness, we zoomed in just a little bit? I'm already liking this one a lot more. Let's see. I do want it to look like there's sort of like a magical wind about her, I guess. Making her hair blow. This is nice and simple, and I could use maybe like the red ink to suggest it's kind of like crazy. Something crazy's happening, I guess. What if we had a dramatic shot of just a hand? Okay, I actually think I really like that one, so I'm going to do some test inks, I suppose, on it. Let's see. I have a really silly proportion just because I wanted this to be cute and silly, maybe just a little bit more loose so the plant can be in her eye. And it's all mysterious. Just throwing down some quick colors of things that are colored just to get a better idea of the composition and all that stuff. I think so far I really like this one. This pose is really interesting, I think. And for the little lines going towards her, I thought we would actually use a red brush instead of a black one. So we can get these quick, ooh, maybe not that deep into her face, but these quick action lines that are really dramatic. I think it'd be a lot more fun than like black. So I could do the red lines, which would be interesting, or I could do a red background with black lines. Because I'm just thinking a white page is really boring, I guess. It might be more fun to have like a red background with the black lines. That would be very dramatic. I think I actually might do that. The black lines. Oh, I really like the red background. I think that'll be really interesting. Okay, great. This is what we're going to go with, and let's get started on this Inktober. And I'm also going to have to do the text and all that, so it's going to be a very long process. Let's get started. Typically my next step would be to put a cute border around our text, and usually I have it related to our drawing. I don't want to do the border yet because I'm not really sure what I want to do, but until then, let's just get to sketching and work on our illustration part of this. The story I wrote was going to have way more details, but I can't fit that much. I'd have to write really small, and I don't want this to be super text heavy, so unfortunately, each of these pages is going to be lacking in detail, but that's fine. It's fine. There's a lot of the story I think I'm having to leave out because of that. So a lot of people ask me why I don't do something like make my Inktober's into books. And to be honest, I just feel like my stories are rushed. They're not completed. I'm not doing the best that I can. The art is rushed because I'm doing it every day. If I'm going to make a book that I publish and put out there, I want to make sure that I really give it my all. And Inktober, as much as I am really giving it my all for this project, I'm also really balancing a lot of other things around it, and I'm not giving this story and book all of the love it really deserves. So because of that, I'm really hesitant to make something like my Inktober into an actual book. It's not my best. I want to put my best out there. Okay, I've got to make sure I make her proportions a little more how I wanted them to be. Her body is very small, her head's very large. I really wanted to exaggerate that in this story. Make sure that her head was really big, and she's very childlike looking. Though sometimes I make her head a little too big, but I think it's okay. Maybe this will be okay. I don't want to cover her face too much, but at the same time, if it's just kind of like at her chest, I feel like that would be kind of out of the way. I want it to be more in front of her, I guess. Oh, and a little secret that I keep forgetting to mention. I am hiding an ant in every illustration just because I thought it would be cute. I don't know if this is gonna break the mood though, so I'm kind of like, should I not do this? All right, I'm going to start inking this. Whoopsie, that doesn't make sense. Oh well. Working with ink can be difficult sometimes. Okay, our little ant is going to definitely need a smaller size for sure. I also seem to be making a lot of silly inking mistakes during this piece, but when it comes to Inktober, you can't win them all. You really can't. So you learn to accept them, just move on. I'll do the plant in her eye after I do stuff or whatever. Anyways, I'm going to erase our blue pencil, and then I'll get back to you guys when I start like coloring and doing details and stuff. I want to make sure that everything is nice and covered on those edges, so we're getting a nice protective piece of paper. And I guess I'm just going to go ham on this background. I've got a red Micron brush pen, and I'm just, I guess I'm just gonna go for it. Well, before I go for it, I should probably outline everything in a red just to make sure that there's a border and I don't go past that. And then I will go ham on the background. It's going to take a while, but it'll probably be worth it, I hope. All right, I'm terrified, but here goes nothing. Jeez. There is our red background. I almost regret it a little bit at the moment because I felt like when I added red to my Inktober, it was more of like a pop of color, sort of extra little detail sort of thing. And there's just so much red. I'm hoping that as I continue to add more details to this piece, the red will act as I wanted it to be, as like a mood sort of thing. Like it's really intense. So it is really intense, but it just kind of looks like, oh, here's some red. So hopefully as I start adding more details, it will grow on me. Until then, let's just continue adding our red details and whatnot, like her mouth and her stripes and stuff, which I was thinking about not adding just because I wanted the red to be in the background, and if I add too much red, maybe it'll take away from that. Now here's an interesting eyeball. Leaving it textured like that would be really interesting. I actually might leave it like that. I was gonna have the plant like in her eyeball, like a reflection, but this eye is so intense, I kind of just want to leave it like this. So next I think I'm going to go ahead and do our hatching, just because I'm undecided on whether to add red details to her clothes and stuff. But I do know I want to add the hatching, so I'll go ahead with that. Typically with the smaller illustrations I use a 003 micron, but because this is a bigger illustration, I'm going to use a 005. Okay, so adding the lines really just changed how I felt about this illustration. I was like, yeah, it's whatever. Now I'm like, wow, I really like it. So I was also thinking, because I do want the red to be such like an emotion and intense thing, I don't really want to give her a red nose, red mouth, and red stripes and stuff. I think I'm actually gonna go through and hatch those colors in. I just really want the background and her eyes to be intense and the main focus and the emotion for this illustration. So I think I can avoid kind of taking away from that by not adding red. So I measured out her stripes, but I think I'm gonna wing it because I'm an idiot like that. It's gonna be hilarious when I mess it up. Classic me. I absolutely love the way this is turning out so far. So I think the last detail we have to add is the brush strokes in the background, and I'm terrified. But at the same time, when am I not terrified of art? So if you're ever going to want to do something like this, you want a very roughed up and drying out marker. That way you can get that lovely texture. You just whip it, and yeah. So here we go. I'm scared as to how this is going to turn out. Okay, here we go. Ooh. This is why I like Inktober, because you do stuff that you don't normally do, and it's a lot of fun. It's hard not to get a curved line because the page on the inside is curved, so it's really hard to control the brush and keep it straight. All right, wow, this is really intense, and I love the result. It really shows an intense moment is happening. I think it really conveys that. Like compared to the previous page, it's like, oh, it's very happy and there's a lot of white. And then boom, oh my gosh, there's just so much intense energy here. So the last thing we need to do before we are done is to add our border to our text over there. So I think I am just going to do some vines and some leaves going around. I think that'll be really simple. I actually might just have them grow out the side and go around and leave the bottom open. And I might add a few berries to it, even though I don't think I want this plant to grow berries, but I just kind of want some red over there also. All right, here I go. Let's make some vines grow. I'll probably make them bob back and forth too. Cute. Okay, now to do the other side. Yeah, why not? I know this plant doesn't have berries, but I'm going to add some little red berries in there just to add some extra color. I think it'll be cute. And there it is. This is our day 4 spread of our storybook sort of thing for Inktober. We had some bumps, I had some doubts, but in the end, I really like the way this illustration turned out. It's just really intense. It shows emotion. I love it. I think it was really successful, and I'm glad that I was able to catch that on camera. Are you participating in Inktober this year? Let me know in the comments below. Are you following the prompts? Are you doing your own thing? Either way, if you are, good luck out there. It's going to be a long few weeks, but in the end, I think you'll be really happy with your results. I hope I will too. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see ya in the next video. Stay golden. Bye. And now a huge thank you to my wonderful patrons for all of their support. You guys are the best. If you want to be in the credits at the end of my videos, see secret sketches, coloring pages, early access, and more, check out my Patreon by clicking a link in the description. Thank you guys all so much for the support. Bye!